Why you should throw your dating rules out the window and replace them with something else. And I'm going to share my dating principles when I'm finished with the dating commandments. I don't even like that word, commandments. It's like we have to do these things. So here are the 10 dating commandments. Number 1, calls are necessary. Calls are nice before a first date, but sometimes people are not comfortable on the phone. Sometimes people get into calls that are too long or too personal. It's hard to navigate calls, and sometimes people meet without a call at all. Imagine that. And sometimes those dates are amazing, and sometimes they're awful because we didn't have any contact at all, and we don't really know this person. So calls are not necessary. They're nice to have, but they're not necessary. And you also have to know how to have a phone call that is productive and helps you to get to know that person in as short a time as possible, just to know whether you want to go on that first date or not. Number 2 dating commandment is dates are a requirement. I don't even know what that means. Dates are a requirement for what? I'm imagining that this might refer to the hookups and the hangouts and all the stuff that younger people are doing without actually going on dates. So I think this is really referring to if you want to be treated nicely and you don't want a person who's just going to be really lazy and never want to put any effort into getting to know you, then I would say, yes, walk away from somebody who doesn't put any effort in at all. But saying dates are a requirement, I don't love the wording of that. Number 3, he calls at least 3 days in advance to meet. That's a ridiculous thing to say. I mean, come on. What if a person touches base with you, you make a date, and he doesn't call at all? Is that somebody who you're going to write off? You have to know what you want, and you have to let men know if you want somebody to check in with you. But saying that a man must call 3 days in advance to meet, no. Number 4, the date is within his budget but not cheap. So first of all, when you first meet somebody and you're meeting them online, I'm a real big proponent of really low-cost dates. Very little investment. This is just to see if there is a connection enough to want to go on an official date, on a first date where you might have dinner and you might do something a little bit more expensive. But coffee, a drink, a walk, nothing big. Just keep it short, within an hour and a half. And so I don't know about this within his budget, but not cheap. I have to say that I have a nephew who didn't have much money. He was in his 20s. He was getting married. He was very serious about marriage. And he had the most creative dates I have ever seen. He would make picnics, and he would take a woman to a toy store and have a good time. I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of money to show somebody you're interested. So let's get this whole budget, cheap financial thing off the table. We're grown-ups now. Number 5, he takes her out on a date at a location which is convenient for her. Now, that's a lovely thing when a man makes an effort and says he wants to meet you where you live and put the effort in. But sometimes we live a distance from each other, and it's okay to meet halfway and show that you both are putting the effort in. So if you hold out on the guy who only will meet you near your neighborhood, you might be negating somebody who's lovely. Number 6, he initiates 80% of contact and she initiates 20% of the time at the beginning. I have no idea what this means. I believe that women and men should both initiate contact. It's really, again, this is a matter of let's be grown-ups here and assert ourselves. And if we're interested in a man, send out that first message. I'm a big proponent of women speaking up and being assertive. Number 7, he pays for the first date. This is really a personal preference, and again, this is about a man showing interest and effort and nothing more. Number 8, he asks questions about her life rather than asking for pics. That one I can agree with. It's nice when somebody asks you questions and shows interest. Number 9, she deletes any man who's not ready to date exclusively or give titles. First of all, we all date for different reasons. If you're not dating seriously, then who cares if he is dating exclusively or not? I just finished a book of by a woman who's going to be on my show in a couple weeks. And she wrote about 100 dates that she went on to find love after her divorce. She went on a lot of just sexual dates, men who she was not interested in being exclusive with at all. And she was totally upfront and she was fine with it. And so we all date for different reasons and want different things. If eventually you want exclusivity with somebody and they don't, then that's a whole different story. Then you walk away from a person who's on a different page, right? And number 10, she's respectful and appreciates his effort. That's lovely. We all should be respectful and appreciate a man's effort. Say thank you. That's the kind thing to do. The reason these commandments don't work is because they're like demands and they're one size fits all. And one of the reasons that so many people are confused about dating is because they follow these kinds of random rules that don't apply in all situations and can actually sabotage your dating life. And so what I suggest is that you adapt dating principles. So here are the last first date dating principles. Number 1, work on your stuff so you don't project your fears and past relationship issues on any of the new guys that you meet. Number 2, cast a wide net. Be as open as you can about the things that don't matter and as narrow as possible on all the things that do matter. I remember a client years ago who cast a wide net geographically. She was only going to date people within a few miles. And because she cast her net wider, and she also did it about income, she met the most amazing guy. And they were in a relationship for about 4 years. And he was respectful, he was kind, he was interesting, he was interested. He had all the things that mattered, but she would never have found him if she kept her net very small about the things that did not matter. Number 3, learn to communicate clearly and kindly. And I would say this is number 1, our communication skills are everything. From the very first phone call, from your profile, however you're meeting men, learn to communicate what you need, what you want, and do it with kindness. This is a life skill that will help you not just with your dating life, but with every single relationship that you have. Number 4, know your standards and set clear boundaries to protect what matters to you from the very start. We have to know what we want and need in a relationship. We have to know who we are, what's important to us, and we have to set those boundaries to protect all those things that matter. What happens so often is we let up on those boundaries and we let people in who shouldn't be in, and we let people treat us in ways that are not okay. And so boundaries, communication skills, crucial if you want to have a healthy relationship. Number 5, don't try to fix men. What you see is what you get, and we often try to mold that guy into somebody else. And not only is it annoying to him, but it's really frustrating for you. So don't do it. Number 6, walk away from men who don't treat you with kindness and respect. Not treating you nicely? Don't argue with him. Just get out. If the first time it happens, bring it up. Tell him you didn't like the behavior and talk to him about it. And if he continues to do it, or he says he won't, but he does, walk away. That's it. Number 7, don't give up hope. One of the biggest issues I see is that women don't believe he's out there. So I want you to truly believe that he's out there waiting for you, and you will find him. If you give up hope, you will not even recognize him if he's smacking you in the face. So believe that he's out there. You can believe even, there's an image that I love where it's like there's a bunch of dates. They're all lined up kind of, in a row. And your guy is like number 5 in the row. And you're imagining there's all these other guys, and then there's your guy. He's right here. So if you go out with 3 of them and then you give up dating, you might miss number 5. So I'm just throwing out a random number. But yes, we have to really believe that he's out there. Number 8, live your best life. Really go out and do all the things that you want to do. Live your life to the fullest and be grateful for what you already have. This is so important to have a gratitude practice. Number 9, forgive those who have hurt you so that you can move on with an open heart. There are so many women who are still holding on to anger, to bitterness, to revenge. It's just so unhealthy for us to do that. This has nothing to do with condoning bad behavior. This has to do with clearing the space for the right people. And number 10, have fun and laugh as much as you can throughout the process. We have to have fun. If we're not having fun, then we're going to be miserable and we're going to want to quit. So all of these things are dating principles. They're not dating rules. They are not going to have you make demands on men. This is really about living your best life and having the healthiest relationships.